I'm here today with Nigel Chamasi. Welcome.
Cool, thanks for having me.
Hello, yes. It's been a while because I saw you last year, or was it the year before?
Is it that long?
Yes, it's been that long.
I'm elusive, apparently.
Welcome. So, yes, tell the audience what you do.
I do a lot of things. So, like you mentioned, I'm the co-founder of the manga brand MANGA. So I make manga. Here are some of my mangas. I also run workshops with young people around the idea of creativity and storytelling. So I've been doing that for a number of years, working in schools, colleges, youth hubs, and the idea is taking what I do with comics and having young people create their own stories and characters as a way to keep them creative and teach transferable skills. I also run a video game event called Gamepad, and the idea there is to promote diversity and inclusion through video games and building community around that. So it's also been, obviously this year being the year it is, it's given a chance for us to move online and offer work experience for young people as well. So yeah, just in everything we do, we try and keep things fun. So comics, video games, and keep things aimed at young people, whether it's on the side of creativity or sort of promoting diversity, inclusion, and job opportunities.
Okay, excellent. So when you say young people, what age range are you talking about?
So I am talking about ages about 8 to sort of 16, 17, 18. So it's quite a spread, and each age has its own, I'm going to say, challenges. Uniqueness. Not a uniqueness is a better word. Let's go with that. Yeah.
Excellent. Oh, sounds amazing. I should get my son in touch with you.
Yeah.
He's really into, comic books and especially gaming and things like that. So,
oh, wow.
Yes. Tell us about your story, your board projects that you do here. I understand you have a partnership with Urban MBA as well.
So the storyboard is our it's like the social enterprise aspect of the brand, of the business, and what we've done is worked with Urban MBA and partnered with them on a grant-funded program. So it's a 3-year program that has been funded by BBC Children in Need for us to deliver a series of workshops in South London, specifically Lewisham. And so we've done the first year, that was 2019. So that's where all the work in there, I put together the kids' work.
It's really cool.
And yeah, I think it just, in general, like I mentioned with the storyboard, the idea is to give kids a space to be creative and to learn those transferable skills. And for a number of underrepresented communities in creative industries, it just gives them an opportunity that they might not otherwise have to be creative, but also to meet people in the industry. So myself, Kofi, the founder of Urban MBA, and other sort of artists in the industry that I'm able to bring on board as part of the program. So yeah, it's been good.
So yeah, I mean, obviously, I feel like the schools need more of these kind of projects.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a weird kind of situation because for me, my background is actually engineering, so I didn't do anything creative through sort of university age, but just seeing how creativity is dealt with at school, in society in general, there's a weird disconnect I find. So we don't necessarily value creativity when kids are at school or in society, but then we all we're watching this, we're watching TV, we read books, we used to go to the cinema, we used to go to plays, we used to do a lot of things. But these are all creative industries that are valid, that have many jobs, and we're not properly equipping our young people to go into either these industries or use those creative skills in other quote-unquote proper industries. So I feel it's an important thing that should not be missed.
Absolutely, I agree, absolutely. Just a bit more about, your company, because I understand that you have a limited company as well as a social venture. So
it's all one company.
Right.
It just so happens that the way we operate has this social element to it, which kind of, as I've now found, kind of brings its own challenges in terms of...
What is it like then, working with those two?
For me, it's fine. For what I found is when you go out, people want to put you in one or the other. So either you're a for-profit company and sometimes I get the impression that you should not be doing anything social, or you're a social enterprise charity and cannot be doing anything commercial, which I understand from from a sort of, I guess, accounting thing. But for me, it's one thing. It's just like, this is the purpose of our brand, is to build this universe of characters and stories, and then use that to kind of empower young people on their journey. So for me, it's one thing. I don't have a problem. It's only when I talk to certain people that then it becomes a problem, whether they want to put you in one box or the other. And yeah, so it's a bit frustrating at times. Very frustrating.
I can imagine, absolutely. So, I mean, you've been doing this for a while.
A long while, yeah.
How long?
So first came up with the idea for, so it's been like an organic kind of thing, like bits have been added on as we've developed and as I've kind of clarified my own purpose and mission. So we started with the characters, myself and my friend Lau, who's no longer in the business now, but we came up with this idea in 2011 now. So when we first came up with the idea, and we just wanted to make these comics, create these characters, and we started with Samurai Chef over here, and that was in 2013, 2014, and then kind of each one has come roughly sort of year or two afterwards, and then along the way we've added on the workshop, the gamepad event, and the podcast, which is up here, is our podcast logo.
Amazing. So you said your background, you went to, you studied engineering.
Yes.
Right. So how has that helped you, obviously, for our younger viewers that are, currently studying or trying to, find their own field?
So when I tell people, like, I'm making these comics and I used to do engineering, they go, oh wow, that's so different, and it is on one level it is, but what I found in terms of building a business, it's a lot of discipline, systems, like processes, obviously it's fun creating these characters and everything, but in terms of like a business, there's a certain kind of structure to it, and doing engineering, specifically software engineering, and working in the industry has given me that structure that I've been able to carry forward. So, yeah, it has pros and cons. There's a lot I did not know at the beginning, and there's certain aspects of how I work that I've had to sort of, adapt to in a creative business. But I think, I appreciate the experience in terms of learning the structure from such a rigid engineering background, and then bringing that to a business context. So, yeah, it's pros and cons.
It's amazing. So when you started, just diving a little bit into your business, when you started, did you get a funding, or did it come from your own? When I was at my old job, I would spend a certain amount of time, I won't say how much, but a certain amount of time working on this. We're all guilty. Yeah. So, that was when I was getting paid a regular salary, which I still vaguely remember when you had that comfort of knowing you were getting a paycheck at the end of the month. All you had to do is show up. That was great. So I was able to use some of that to invest in my business. But then as you go, you find out actually business is expensive and we needed a bit more money. So I went through the Princess Trust Enterprise Program, and also I was able to get a loan, which I then put into the business, used that up quick, and then sort of had to make the business sort of make enough money to kind of sort of keep it going. So it's very organic, and the funding came from a mix of places. So would you say that the transition was quite organic from working from your 9 to 5, and then you slowly kind of, worked your way to working for yourself? Or could you have done both of it while you were doing your 9 to 5 and continue with your business, or did one have to give? For me, looking back, I think if you've got something that you want to do, at some point you will have to make a jump. So I don't know what the right place is. I don't know even if I made the right jump, but my consideration is I was in a place where, the job I was doing was fine. I was
I wouldn't say happy, but I was content.
Do you mind if I ask what you were doing?
Oh yeah, I was a software engineer. So I worked for a company who dealt with voice recognition systems for like NHS cinemas. So pretty much like when you go and call somewhere and you have to speak to the machine. And I just got to a place where we had this idea. It wasn't exactly this, but it was sort of the basis of what the brand is now. And I was like, I'm content, but if I could wave a magic wand, I'd want to have a business that's built around like creativity and something that I'm able to impact the world with. And that's not where I was. So yeah, I just made a decision that before it becomes too hard to leave, I would leave now and then see if I can figure it out. So supportive parents help with that. So that is an aspect. I wouldn't have been able to do that without that support. But yeah, it's just that decision, and it's just about when you do it. But I feel if you have something that you do feel that you want to bring to the world, at some point you're going to have to make the decision to take the leap. And it's never going to be a perfect transition.
Yeah. Well, kudos to you. Well done for it, because obviously it's a niche market that you've entered, and you've been doing it for a while. So, what is next for you then in terms of scaling up? How do you see yourself in the next few years?
So something I've had to kind of learn almost the hard way is that it needs to be more than yourself. So you can only do so much. There's only so many hours of the day. You're only capable of doing a certain amount of things. So you'll need people. So I think that's one part for me, is using this period that we're in to think about how do I get more people on board. And I feel I've been lucky in terms of, in a way, like the stuff I do is almost self-selecting. So the people I meet are sort of passionate about this, and I've been lucky enough to meet people who like doing different aspects of this, whether it's our illustrator, whether it's our in our gamepad event, we've had hosts, people who know the technical side of how to run physical and online events. Then it comes to the other part of scale, which is how do I pay them, and how do you get them the money to fund all that. So I've been again lucky enough to have sort of support from places like Urban MBA that have helped me gain access to funding, and also the ability to make money on its own. So again, it's all organic, but it's that question. So how do I get people to allow the brand to do more, and how do I make enough money as a business to then fund that? And it is a challenge, and I'm kind of in it now, so I don't have a proper answer for you yet. Check back with me in 5 years. But yeah, that's where I'm at.
Well, I mean, right now, with the way things have been going, with lockdown, we're on lockdown, and we're let out, eat out to help out, and all this kind of confusion. You know, I feel like there is a lot of time that people do have at home, and there are, people that are twiddling their thumb, wondering what to do. So it could be a great time to kind of network online and find people to, you never know, to support the dream.
I mean, I think one of the things that I've found, like this, particularly this period we're in, is, there's a lot of, I feel there's a lot of economic fallout that's still to happen, and as is often the case, you'll find young people take the brunt of that, because when you're a business and you've got expenses and you're trying to make the books balance, young people are like the first to go. They're the easiest to cut, less experience, and you can not have to spend the time training them, and then that sometimes falls on sort of young people from sort of diverse backgrounds. So for me, what I've been trying to do in particular with our gamepad event is work with companies in the games industry to support what we do to enable young people to get the work experience that they'll need in future. So yeah, it's kind of making use of the time and the situation to offer value to people, but then also, like I said, help our situation of how do we get more people. So you're working on that, and then just working on like the brand in general. So we mentioned like the storyboard, the gamepad, but even with the comics, and how do I get into animation and things like that. So that's a question that's been on my mind. How do we turn like these books into animated stories, which has always been kind of the goal from the beginning. But then it's like, okay, how do we actually do that now? How do we make these these clips? Where do we go to get the people to do the animation, to do the voices, to do the music, all that kind of thing. So
yeah, Nigel, I wouldn't worry too much about that. You never know who's watching. So imagine that person is watching now. How sell yourself?
So
Tell them about your comic book.
So that's put me on the spot. So I would say, like, for me, part of the big reason that I started this and wanted to build this is to provide a place where people can work on things they are passionate about. And I feel like what I would say to anyone who's passionate about animation is this is a place where you can sort of let your imagination go, build your creativity and work with other people who are in this field that you care about. So yeah, if there's anyone listening, you can get in touch, and then feel free, we can talk animation.
And don't forget, guys, go and crop yourself one of these books. Well, thank you so much for your time today, Nigel. It's been a great pleasure having you on the show.
No problem.
Yeah? Okay, excellent. So thank you, guys. Watch out for the next episode.